All right, so today I'm trying to work through a rough idle on the Land Cruiser. So this happened probably 2 or 3 weeks ago where I was driving and kind of all of a sudden I started to get a rough idle, and it happens at lower RPMs, idle obviously, and particularly when the car is in drive. I don't think it's anything to do with the transmission. I just think that puts a little more pressure on the engine. It stutters a little more. So I've been kind of troubleshooting, and the car has a few codes, mostly related to misfires. At first it was showing a misfire on 4 and 8, and then a little bit later, a couple days later, it was showing misfires on 1 and 2, and then finally I got P0300, which is like a random misfire, and it suggests that it's probably not anything to do with one cylinder or any cylinders individually, but something broader like a vacuum leak or maybe some other problem like the throttle body not working the right way and things like that. So let me show you what it sounds like, and let's see if it does it. I don't know if it will. The engine's pretty warm, and it seems to do better when the engine's warm. So usually kind of gets exacerbated once I'm in drive. Yeah, it's doing a little bit. Not as much as it was, though. I'll splice in a clip of it doing it pretty badly. That's what I got going on. And I just had my spark plugs and ignition coils replaced like 4,000 or 5,000 miles ago, so I didn't think that was it anyways. And once I found the code that kind of showed that it was something more broad, that made sense to me. So the first thing I did was kind of come in and look at these ignition hoses. And I don't know if you can see that very well, but again, there's a crack. Wow, that's tough to see. There's a crack right on the end of that hose. So that could be it. Although I used the test method where you spray brake cleaner in there to see if if there was a leak, the engine's RPMs would go up as it consumed that extra fuel, and nothing happened. So I don't know if that's going to be it or not, but that's the first thing I'll do since it was like an obvious fix. I bought the part and have it right here. Here's the part, new hose. There's your part number for anyone else doing the same thing. So I'll go ahead and get this installed, and we'll see where that gets us. All right, so to take this hose off, we've got 2 clips down there that go into this area. One that goes into the airbox, and then one more right there up top. Now this hose is called the idle up hose, and it attaches to, I think that down there is the power steering pump. And as I understand, essentially the function of this hose is whenever the power steering turns on and that power steering component is drawing a lot of energy from the engine, particularly at idle, a switch in the power steering pump goes off, and it opens a valve that allows more air to be fed through this hose, kind of increasing the RPMs of the idle so that your car doesn't stall out when the power steering is drawing a bunch of power. So it seemed at least related to idle. I think my problem is that I don't have enough idle, but I don't know. Let's replace this and see where it gets us. You know what? I didn't see this one, but there's another crack in that hose up there too. So it's cracked in 2 places. There, and then just in case you weren't able to see it better the first time, there's the other crack right there. So not in too good a shape, but yeah, I wanted to show you that before I pulled it off. Alrighty, got that new hose all installed. It was not hard to do at all. It took me all of 2 minutes. And you know, by the way, I made sure that you know, the short one went into the left side and the longer one went into the right side, or vice versa, whatever it is there, to make sure I didn't mix it up. But I don't know that would matter anyways, to be honest. So new hose installed. I'm gonna turn her on and we'll see how she does. All right, this is after installing that new hose, and got no trouble idling. We're even climbing a small hill here in dry without the gas on, and we got constant RPM. So I'd say it was that hose. I'm gonna go ahead and reset this check engine light and drive around a little bit and see if I get another error, but hopefully that's it. All right, just got back from the drive and it is running perfectly. The idle's perfect, smooth acceleration, the engine lights didn't come back, so it was definitely that hose. And I'm glad I you know, put the work in here to figure that out and get under the hood and look around. So obviously we replaced this hose. There's a lot of hoses over here as well that I checked, different kind of vacuum hoses, to make sure that they had good seals. So I know they do now, and you know, that's a good, cheap, easy fix. Which actually I took this car to the dealership right when the issue happened, because I was driving by. I didn't have any of my tools and just wanted to see what codes were throwing, and they said cylinder misfire on 4 and 8, and they recommended $1,500 worth of work. They said, you know, we always replace the shock, the ignition coils and the spark plugs, and why not, you know, clean the throttle body for $200 while we're in there, kind of thing. And you know, I said no thank you. I actually told them, I said, hey, you know, I replaced all that, or had that replaced 4,000 or 5,000 miles ago, and they said still that's the first step they would take. So I'm glad I didn't take their word for that. Not that I felt they were being dishonest or anything, but you never know. You kind of just sometimes want to get in and check it out yourself. And I kind of immediately found one crack, and then followed by another crack in this vacuum hose, and that fixed it all up. So, and actually another kind of benefit of this is regarding the mechanic that at one time replaced my ignition coils. He wasn't the best, and there were some issues with that service unrelated to this, but I noticed when I was in here looking around that I don't know if you can see that 10mm bolt on the on that ignition coil there is actually not OEM. It's different than the rest, and I don't know if it's torqued appropriately or not. I tried to tighten down a little bit, but it is too long to hold this ignition coil in place the right way. So that ignition coil doesn't have a tight seal on it, and that's definitely not what you want. So another benefit of getting in here and looking around and doing it yourself is that I found that I was able to order the 10mm bolt for like $2, and I'll tighten that down and make sure it's all sealed up and ready to go. Yeah, that's a great thing. And I might even clean the throttle body, which is right here. Maybe I'll do another video about that another time. It's a pretty easy thing to do, but I'm not going to do it today because I already kind of found the problem, and I don't want to create another problem before I run it for a while and make sure everything's okay. But yeah, so doing it yourself sometimes can pay off. I saved at least $1,500 doing it by myself. But one other thing you'll want to do if you have any kind of issue like mine, where you lost vacuum and cylinders are misfiring, or maybe it's the throttle body that's kind of giving too much or too little air, you want to reset the ECM, which is the onboard computer to the car, and it optimizes like fuel and air and things like that, and shift points based on your vehicle, your engine, your altitude, things like that. So it learns over time, and it constantly is trying to optimize your gas mileage and your efficiency. And you don't want it learning values from faulty throttle body, or when there's a leak in the air intake manifold. So you just reset that. All you have to do is just disconnect the battery for 20-30 minutes. It'll reset, and you might have some lower gas mileage for a while, or like some awkward shift points, but I think it's worth it. Eventually it'll get back to optimum, and you'll be running in good shape. So, but anyways, I think that's all for this video, but thanks for watching.